Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today I'm going to make the review of a pen that I already showed you in one of those illogical purchases that I make sometimes. And so this is a Waterman pen, and let's open it. And we have inside the Waterman Exception Night and Day. And let's just lift this. Inside there was this cloth sleeve. There should be some instructions and also a pack of cartridges, but that's what you would find if the pen was new, but it was what used. So let's see what we really have inside. And here we have this Waterman Exception. This is a beautiful pen in my opinion. It's quite heavy, made of metal, very shiny surface. As you can see perfectly the light umbrella that's there. And let's take a look at it. It is a pen that has kind of a square shape. There's a lot of things that get attracted to this, and it gets dirty or with fingerprints very easily. But let's take a look. So it has a square shape, which is interesting and quite different, both on the top of the cap and on the bottom of the barrel. But let's start here. We have the top of the cap. It has also the square shape, although this little medallion with the W from Waterman is round. Then we have the typical clip from Waterman, like this, divided in half, and then there is the thing with the plating of this. And you may see here that the plating of this pen is starting to fall. It's very hard to see, but there is some pitting in the plating of this pen. I think it is platinum, and you can see there is some things falling there. Then we have this a band on the bottom of the cap, and also a band on the bottom of the, or on the top of the barrel, and it says Waterman Paris, and the other side the same thing, and in both sides nothing. Here on the side of the cap it says France, because this is Waterman made in France. They have alternate faces. One are the two of them are just glossy black. The other two have these stripes, like if they were laser engraved, that make them in more matte and different too. They have a different texture. You can feel these lines. Then the bottom of the barrel is plain color, so like this. Then the pen caps or uncaps just by pulling the cap, and you have this nib. You have this Waterman Ideal nib, which is interesting. It has an interesting size. It's not a number 6 size nib, but it is quite big for a Waterman. It says Ideal there. It has a globe beneath, and then it says 18K or 750, which is the amount of gold there is in this nib. So it is a gold nib. Then you have a plastic feet, and you have a squared section also. No sharp edges, but it is squared. Then you open the barrel, and when you do this, you find the most interesting part of this pen, or one of the most curious details, which is this. It locks in place by this kind of, it's like a bayonet style of closing. You just put it here and click it in on place. It's not a normal thread. So here you have. It is quite nice, I think. And then inside you have a regular Waterman converter, or it can take international or Waterman sized cartridges. So this is a quite interesting pen, I must say. It is very uncommon to have this kind of shape. All the parts of the pen are metal except for the section which is plastic. Because it has no threads, to close the cap, it's interesting, but it's very strange to hold a pen with a square section. I can't get easily used to it, and I can get used to lots of things like triangular grips, which I don't love, but I can get used to them, and I can get used to the pilot capless clip that is in the middle of your fingers when you're writing. This is quite strange. This pen is quite expensive. If you find it on eBay, it goes for 300 and something euros. I bought it a lot cheaper because the pen had the nib all bent upwards. So I had to straighten the nib as far as I can with my limited knowledge, and you can see it still has some bending, but not much, and it writes, so it's nice. It's a little bit on the drier side, and I think that is a problem. It is my lack of expertise to make this kind of adjustment on a nib. What I have more to say about it, this pen has two different sizes. This is the large size, there is also smaller size. You can easily differentiate them by size, but if you don't have the pen on your hands, if there is someone selling the pen to you, you can easily check it, because the smaller size doesn't have the bayonet section fitting. It has a regular threaded section. So this is all. It is a very nice pen. It looks great, but it is quite strange to hold. And I have to say that I really like it more in terms of design than in writing experience, just because of the shape of the section. Now, just to show it to you next to other two pens with which I usually compare, I have here a Lamy Safari and a Parker Centennial Lufold, and you can see it is a little bit larger than a Parker Centennial Lufold. When you uncap, and let's stick with the Parker and the Waterman, when you uncap both of them, you can see that the Waterman Exception is larger, so it means it has a very nice size. And let me try to focus on the nibs. You have here the Waterman nib. It has almost the same length as the Parker Lufold nib, but it is just a little bit narrower than that one. That's the only difference between them. Also the design and the lack of a breather hole, but it is almost the same size. Now let's go for the writing sample. And here I am back with the paper, and let's see how the pen performs. So this is the Waterman Exception Night, and Day. The ink inside this pen is the Montegrappa Fuchsia, and the paper is the usual Rhodia .pet. And now let's check better the nib, and I will get a little bit closer. And so the nib is a real fine nib. I don't know if this is supposed to be so fine as it is. It is almost like a Japanese fine, or if it was a problem of my kind of adjustment. This pen is quite sensitive to long pauses. If you have the pen for a long time and kept, it may skip the first, it may fail the first stroke on paper, but then it resumes writing with no problem. It's just a nib that I think it's a drier nib. About the wetness of the nib, let's show you. It is quite dry. There is not lots of smear, but there is some. Also, this ink doesn't, I would say it doesn't dry very easily, very quickly. About writing in reverse, it is not really possible. It is scratchy and it stops writing, but in the right way, it writes really well. It is a very smooth pen and it gives you a very nice writing experience if you can get used to the shape of the section. It also allows for some line variation, and I think that is why these are not real skips. I lifted the nib from the paper. I think the line variation it can have, like this, you can see. I think this was what made the previous owner of the pen to bend the nib, because it's quite responsive. So if you do a upper stroke it like this, a down stroke it makes this kind of thickness, so there is some line variation. And if you force it a little bit more, you can really have some, it's not a flex nib, but you can have some line variation, as you can see. But I think this was why or how the pen got a bent nib. So, on the end of the day, what can we see? This is a quite expensive pen, but that writes really, really well. I think it is one of the nicest modern Waterman pens. I really like it, and I really like the way it writes. It's just not my first choice to pick up from my pen pouch and start writing with it, because of the shape of the section, not because of the nib. So this is all for today. This is a very interesting pen. If you have if you want to buy this pen, and if you have the chance to test it before, I think it's better, just to be sure you can get used to it. If you do, you have here a very good writer for your life, I would say. So this is all for today. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much for passing by, and I hope to see you soon in another video. Bye.